vibrating in my pocket, repeating the same message. Do not engage, do not acknowledge, do not trust them. Then, before I could even process what that meant, my phone rang. It was my mom. She sounded normal at first, asking if I'd seen the news. Her voice was warm, familiar. But then she asked, "Who is this?" I laughed, assuming it was a joke. "Mom, what do you mean?" "It's me." A pause. A long, suffocating silence. Then she repeated, slower this time, "Who is this?" That was when I knew something was wrong. I hung up. My hands were shaking as I reread the alert. Do not acknowledge changes in behavior. But it was too late. She knocked on my door 5 minutes later. I don't know how she got here so fast. She lives 3 states away. But when I looked through the peephole, there she was, my mom, or something that looked like her. She was smiling too wide, too many teeth. "Sweetheart, let me in," she said. Her voice came from deep in her throat, like it wasn't meant to make those sounds. I backed away, trying not to breathe too loudly. Then she knocked again, louder, more insistent. "I know you're in there, let me in." I turned on the TV, hoping for answers. Every channel was the same, static in that damn message. Do not engage, do not acknowledge, do not trust them. Then the broadcast changed. A news anchor sat stiffly at his desk, his face eerily still. Then his mouth moved, but his lips didn't sync with his words. "They are in your homes. They wear your family's skin. Do not trust their voices." Behind him, someone walked past the newsroom, a woman, head twitching, moving like a puppet with its strings cut. "Do not let them know you see them." A wet sucking noise came from my front door. I didn't want to look, but I did. Flesh dripped from her face in long, stringy ribbons. Beneath, something pale and featureless stretched its jaw too far open, teeth reforming like melting wax. She wasn't knocking anymore. She was pressing against the door, her fingers elongating, flattening, searching for gaps in the wood. "Sweetheart," she gargled, voice breaking, warping, "let me in. I made your favorite dinner." I shoved the couch against the door and ran upstairs. I don't know what to do. The emergency broadcast keeps looping, but now it's different. The news anchor is gone. The newsroom is empty. The screen flickers, then goes black. And then, a live feed of my hallway. I can see myself on the screen, hunched over, trembling. Behind me, my bedroom door creaks open. A voice, my own voice, whispers, "Why are you hiding?" I ran. I didn't look at the screen. I didn't turn around. I just sprinted down the hallway and slammed my bedroom door shut, pressing my weight against it. My breath came in ragged gasps. Something wasn't right. The TV. How did it have a live feed of my house? I don't have cameras. And worse, what was in my room. I could still hear the emergency broadcast looping from downstairs. It was breaking apart, voices overlapping, whispering over each other. Something slammed against my door. Once, twice, then silence. I held my breath. Then, "Let me in." My voice, not my mother's, mine. It was on the other side of the door, mimicking my breathing, my panic. I felt a cold pressure against the wood. Not knocking, just pressing, like something without bones was molding itself to the surface, listening. "Let me in." The words slurred this time, breaking apart. I pressed harder against the door, squeezing my eyes shut. "Don't engage. Don't acknowledge. Don't trust them." I didn't speak. I barely breathed. Then I heard my bedroom window slide open. A wave of icy air washed over me. I turned my head slowly, heart hammering. The window was open, curtains swaying, and something stood in the dark outside, its outline stretching too tall, too thin. It had my face, but wrong. The eyes were just deep, wet holes. The skin sagged in places as if struggling to hold its shape. It smiled. "You can't ignore me forever." I bolted. I didn't think. I just ran, bursting through the door, nearly tripping over my own feet. As I stumbled down the stairs, I heard something behind me. Not footsteps, just shifting, a dry, papery sound, like old skin being peeled away. The emergency alert was still blaring from the TV. I turned to look just for a second. The newsroom was empty again, but the screen flickered. A new message appeared, the text jagged, pulsing. "Do not run, do not hide, you are already seen." The power cut out. The house went silent. And behind me, from the dark at the top of the stairs, a whisper, closer now. "Why are you hiding?" I didn't move. I couldn't. The whisper came from the top of the stairs, my own voice curling through the darkness. Why are you hiding? It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. I forced myself to move, to run, to do something. But my body felt wrong, sluggish, heavy, like I was wading through thick air. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. Then a creak. Slow footsteps descending the stairs. I reached for the front door, fingers shaking, twisting the lock. Click. The knob wouldn't turn. I yanked, pulled, slammed my shoulder against the wood, but it wouldn't budge. Behind me, the footsteps stopped. Silence. Then, "You know you can't leave." My voice again. It came from right behind me. I turned. It stood at the bottom of the stairs, my own face grinning at me. The skin had settled more, no longer sagging like melting wax. It was perfect. A perfect copy. It tilted its head, studying me. "You look scared." I backed away. My heel hit something wet. I looked down. A smear of red led from the hallway, thick, fresh, pooling. My stomach lurched. I followed the trail with my eyes. It led to the living room. The TV buzzed with static, the glow casting jagged shadows against the walls. And on the couch, my body, ripped open, skin peeled back, chest cavity empty. I choked on a scream. "You understand now, don't you?" The thing with my face stepped closer. "You were never meant to leave." The emergency alert blared again, but the voice was different. Garbled, warped. Except. The power cut out. The house plunged into darkness. And then in the black, a whisper. "Let me in." I don't know how long I was in the dark. Time didn't feel real anymore. The house was silent. No hum of the refrigerator. No ticking clock, just an endless, suffocating void. But I wasn't alone. Something was breathing right next to me, slow, deep, like it was waiting. Then a voice, my voice, so close I could feel the words crawl down my spine. "Let me in." I squeezed my eyes shut. No, I wouldn't let it in. Something cold brushed my arm, my own hand reaching for me in the dark. "You don't belong here like this." A flash, images burning into my skull, my torn body on the couch, my mother's voice on the phone repeating, "Who is this?" The emergency alert. Screaming, "Do not run, do not hide, you are already seen." This thing wasn't trying to take my place. It already had. I was the intruder. I was the one who wasn't supposed to be here. Except. The whisper was inside my head now, curling around my thoughts, wrapping me in cold, empty understanding. I looked down at my hands. They were fading. Pale, translucent. The copy stepped in front of me, its grin widening. I saw myself reflected in its empty, black eyes, my form breaking apart, unraveling like loose thread. "It's time to go." The emergency broadcast crackled one last time. The text on the screen shifted, flickering, before finally settling on a single word. "Replacement successful." The static stopped. The house was quiet again. And then, the TV shut off. The last thing I saw was my own face, smiling back at me in the screen's reflection. I should be gone. I should be nothing. But I'm still here. I exist in a place that shouldn't exist, floating in a hollow, black space between. My thoughts are sluggish, unraveling like an old cassette tape. But I know something is wrong, because I can still see. Not like before, not with eyes, not in any way that makes sense. But I see. And what I see is them. There are so many. Floating figures, shadow-thin, stripped of names and voices. They hover in this void with me, flickering like dying embers. And then I realize they are all the people who have been replaced. They are me. Thousands, millions. Their stolen faces are walking around in the world above, wearing their lives like a second skin. And we are nothing to them. We are forgotten, but not for long. Because something is changing. The void is shifting, the darkness pulling apart, revealing glimpses of the other side. I see through my mimic's eyes, see what it sees. It moves through my house, its motions smooth, practiced. It picks up my phone, scrolling through messages. It smiles when it sees my friends, my family, all of them unsuspecting. It's planning to replace more. That's when I feel it. A tether, thin, fragile, but real. I reach for it. And the mimic stops. Its head jerks. Its smile falters. For the first time, I feel something from it. A ripple of fear. I tighten my grip. The void trembles. And then I pull. The world lurches. My stolen face twists, distorts. And suddenly I'm yanked back into my body. My mind snapping into place like a jagged puzzle piece. I breathe. I feel the weight of my limbs, the rush of air in my lungs. I'm alive. But I'm not alone. The mimic is still here, inside me. It claws at my thoughts, writhing, shrieking without a mouth. But it's weak. It never expected me to fight back. I stand, my legs shaking. My hands are my own again. I walk to the mirror. And for the first time, the reflection staring back at me is not smiling. Emergency broadcast interrupted. New signal detected. Something is wrong. They are fighting back. I don't know how long I stood in front of the mirror, staring at my own face. It felt wrong. Not like before, when I was watching something else wear my skin. No, this time it was me. But there was something inside, something buried. I could still feel it, the thing that tried to erase me. It was trapped now, clawing at the edges of my mind like an insect caught under glass. It wasn't gone. It was just contained. I should have felt relieved, but I didn't. Because when I blinked for just a fraction of a second, I saw its reflection move out of sync with me. I stepped back. My body obeyed. The reflection hesitated, then caught up. I swallowed hard. Was I still me? A buzzing noise filled the room. At first, I thought it was the old light fixture above me, flickering after the blackout. Then I realized it was coming from the TV. Even though it was off, I turned slowly. The screen was black, but the glass surface seemed too dark, like a hole instead of a reflection. Then something blinked. Not a reflection, an eye. It was watching me. I took a step closer, pulse hammering. The blackness twisted, shapes forming in the depths of the screen. Not static, not distortion, figures, thin, human-shaped things, standing in a vast, empty space. Hundreds, thousands. Their faces were blurred, shifting like smudges on wet glass. I felt something press against my mind, a sensation like fingers brushing my thoughts. A voice followed, layered, overlapping, familiar. You are not supposed to be here. The static swelled, drowning out the voice. The screen flickered, images burning into my mind faster than I could process. A city skyline, but wrong. The buildings were too tall, too twisted, their surfaces pulsing. A hospital room, flickering between empty and occupied. The bed sheets stained with something dark. A tunnel stretching into black infinity. Walls lined with TV screens, each one showing someone staring back at me. Then the last image. A figure standing in my bedroom, right behind me. I spun. Nothing, just the empty room. But the feeling didn't leave. I wasn't alone. The TV screen glitched again, the text reappearing. Something is wrong. Then another message, one that sent ice through my veins. We see you. The screen shut off. And from somewhere inside the house, a door creaked open. The door creaked open. I didn't move. My body was frozen, every instinct screaming at me to run. But where? The house didn't feel like my house anymore. The walls, the floor, the air itself felt wrong. Like I had stepped into a place that only looked like my home. I swallowed hard and took a step forward. The hallway stretched into darkness. My bedroom door was wide open now, but I didn't open it. Something else did. I listened. Nothing but the sound of my own breathing. But the air was heavy, like something unseen was waiting. I stepped forward. The second my foot touched the hallway floor, the TV switched back on. Not static, not another warning. It was live footage of me, a real-time feed of me standing in my hallway. The camera angle was wrong, like it was being filmed from a corner of the ceiling, watching from somewhere that didn't exist. I turned slowly, scanning the walls, the ceiling. No cameras, no lenses. But the feed was still broadcasting. Then on the screen, I moved. I took a step toward the camera, but I hadn't moved. The me on the screen wasn't me. I stared as my other self lifted a hand palm up. Then with slow, deliberate movements, it pointed behind me. The blood drained from my face. I turned. Nothing, just the empty hallway. But I knew I wasn't alone. I could feel it, something waiting, just outside of my vision, hiding in the spaces between. I turned back to the TV. My reflection was still there, still staring. But something had changed. It was smiling. I wasn't. And then, it stepped out of the screen. That's when I hear it again. The door creaks open. But this time it's not just a sound. It's a presence. I turn slowly, the floor beneath my feet shifting like the house itself is warping. The hallway is longer and the shadows stretch too far. The corners of the room blur, melting into something unfamiliar, like dreams and nightmares mingling into one. From the end of the hallway, I see a figure, vague, blurry at first, like it's still being formed. It's walking toward me, its outline flickering in and out of existence. Then I hear it, laughter. Not human, not even mimic. It's something deeper, something older. The architects, they're waiting for me to break. I don't know what they want, but I feel the weight of their gaze, heavy, suffocating. It's the feeling of being trapped in their world. I grip the doorframe, steadying myself, trying to breathe. But the air doesn't feel right anymore. It's thick, unnatural. I'm not in my house. I don't know where I am. The figure at the end of the hall grows clearer, and I see its face, no eyes, no mouth, just a blank white mask, as smooth as porcelain. But when it moves, it's like it's made of something else, its limbs bending in impossible directions, as if it doesn't follow the laws of nature. I can't move. I'm paralyzed, rooted in place. I can feel its presence invading my mind, slipping inside. I try to resist, but it's like trying to hold back a flood. A voice not from the figure, but from everywhere. You are not meant to exist. The ground beneath me cracks open, revealing a dark void, a place of endless nothing. The figure is standing at the edge, its mask staring directly at me. But it's not just looking at me, it's judging me. The truth hits me all at once. I'm not supposed to be here. Not in this house, not in this reality, not in this world. This was never a battle of humans versus mimics. It was always about me. I was the anomaly. I don't know what's real anymore. The walls, the floor, everything feels like it's made of thin glass. Cracking beneath my feet, I hear whispers. Not from anywhere close. No, it's coming from deep. From somewhere beneath the surface. The fabric of the house is pulling at itself, warping and twisting like a wound that can't heal. It's as if I'm being stretched between two worlds, caught in the middle of something I can't even begin to understand. I feel like I'm suffocating in this place, this hollow reality, where nothing stays still and everything shifts in impossible ways. The figure with the porcelain mask is gone now, but its presence still lingers, like a dark cloud. I walk through the house, but I don't recognize it. The furniture, the layout, it all feels foreign. A place I've never been, yet I know it. The memories are fading, replaced with something new. Something wrong. I should have kept running when I had the chance. But something holds me here, something deep inside this house. Inside this place, pulling me to the center, and then I hear it again, the hum. Low at first, then rising, as if the entire structure of this place is alive. It's a vibration in the air, vibrating in my chest. The ground beneath me shifts, a subtle tremor like the house is breaking apart. I rush to the door, but it's locked. It wasn't locked before. This place is changing. The whispers are louder now, indistinct words rising above the hum. They're calling my name, my real name, the one I thought was lost. I turn to the wall. It's different now. The wallpaper is peeling back, revealing something underneath. A symbol, a mark I've never seen before, but somehow I know it. It feels like it's been carved into my soul. The door finally gives way, opening to a long hallway. But it's not the hallway I remember. It stretches endlessly, bending at impossible angles. Shadows curl like smoke in the corners, alive, watching. I step forward, unsure of what's ahead, but I can't stop now. I've already come too far. The end of the hallway is growing closer, but there's something in the distance. Something moving. It's not human, it's waiting. I keep moving, but every step feels like I'm dragging myself through thick mud, fighting against an invisible force that pulls me deeper into this nightmare. The hallway stretches on forever. I keep thinking I'm close to the end, but then the walls bend, the floor shifts, and I'm somewhere else entirely. It's like a labyrinth, constantly changing. Every door I open leads me back to the same place, the same corridor, the same endless void where time doesn't seem to exist. I stumble forward. My head is pounding, my chest tight. I can barely breathe. The whispers grow louder, closer now, as if they're coming from the walls themselves, the air. It's suffocating. You are not meant to be here. The voice is everywhere, all around me, but I can't pinpoint where it's coming from. I'm not sure if it's the architects themselves, or something else entirely, something that's been feeding off my fear. I've been hearing it more and more, the hum, like the low vibration of a machine winding up. The walls are starting to pulse, and the lights flicker, like they're on the verge of burning out. I look down at my hands, and for a second, just a second, I see another reflection. A version of me that isn't mine. The skin is wrong, the shape is wrong, the eyes are empty. I blink, and it's gone. The hallway twists again. I run. The echoes of my footsteps sound wrong. They're delayed, like they're happening somewhere else, far away. The air is thick, suffocating. I can't breathe. I pound my fist against the walls, desperate, trying to make them stop, trying to find a way out. But the walls just laugh at me, mocking me, whispering in that same low hum. You are lost. I stop. For the first time in what feels like hours, I stop. I press my hands against my temples, trying to block out the whispers, trying to think. There has to be a way out. And then it hits me. There's a door, not a door in this hallway, but in the distance. A shimmering doorway surrounded by a faint light that seems to pulse like a heartbeat. I know where it leads. It has to lead to the exit. It has to. I take a step forward. The walls shake. The floor trembles. The very air around me screams in resistance. I don't care. I can't stop. I run. But then, a shadow crosses my path. It's massive, dark, and shifting. I can't make out what it is, but it's blocking my way to the door. I can feel its presence, cold, unnatural, like it's pulling the very light from the room. I stop in my tracks. My heart races. The figure steps forward, its form morphing, changing until I see it clearly. It's me, but it's not. It's twisted, wrong. Its face is a contorted mask like a scream frozen in time. The eyes are black voids, empty. The skin ripples like liquid, like it doesn't belong. It's the face I saw in the mirror earlier. You cannot escape, it whispers, its voice layered with the hum of 1,000 voices. You were always meant to become one of us. Those words, they cut deep. My mind floods with images, memories, faces. They don't belong here. They don't belong to me. But they are me. They are all the things I've feared, all the things I've been running from. The walls pulse with the same rhythm as the hum. Alive, beating with a steady, eerie thrum. The reality around me is breaking down, and I feel like I'm slipping through the cracks. I force myself to move, to take a step back, but the shadow that stands before me doesn't allow it. It grows taller, more powerful, its form shifting, contorting. You are the key. I stumble back, shaking my head, trying to force the words out of my mind. No, this isn't me. It can't be, I scream, but the scream is swallowed by the hum. It doesn't matter. I close my eyes trying to shut it out, but the words are inside me. The things I've been running from, the pieces of me that have been lost, are pulling me deeper into this nightmare. The deeper I go, the more I realize this isn't just a place. This is a trap. I want to run, but the shadows reach out, trying to hold me in place, freezing my legs, my body. My mind is slipping, fading, but something inside me fights back. I push the fear away. I focus. I'm done running. The figure before me is laughing, but the sound is wrong. It isn't laughter at all. It's more like a ripping sound, a tear in the fabric of reality itself. It's trying to consume me, but I won't let it. You were always meant to lead them. I freeze. Lead them? Who? What are they talking about? Then it hits me. The truth I didn't want to face. The architects, they didn't want me to escape. They needed me. I wasn't just some survivor. I was the one who was supposed to bring them all together. I was the key. The bloodline, the connection to the mimics. They were always planning on using me. I wasn't a victim of this war. I was the final piece they needed to take it all. I was never supposed to leave. I can feel my anger rise, surging, replacing the fear, filling the space inside me. I was never a pawn. I was never the helpless one. I control this. I can feel the power stirring inside me, like a forgotten part of myself awakening. The door at the end of the hallway is still there, shimmering, pulsating with light. I can feel it calling me, and this time I don't hesitate. I run. The world around me shakes, but I don't stop. My feet are moving on their own, the ground beneath me shifting, but I ignore it. I ignore the walls that try to claw at me, the shadows that reach out to pull me back. I reach the door. I don't even look back. But the shadow, that twisted version of me, it's there, right behind me. Its hand reaches out, but I'm already through. As my sanity was slipping away, I had a thought. And then the realization hits me after too long. I'm in the architect's world now. This isn't just some twisted nightmare. This is their domain, the place where they control everything. The walls, the ground, the air, it's all part of their reality. I am not merely a victim. I am the center of this catastrophe. But I won't play their game anymore. I finally reach the door. It's different this time. It doesn't shimmer or pulse with light like before. It's cracked open, and a faint blue glow spills through the gap. I step forward, hesitant but determined. I've come too far to turn back now. As I reach for the door, I hear a voice, calm and cold, whispering from behind me. It's too late. I don't turn around. I don't need to. I know what it is. The shadow that's always followed me. That thing I've been running from, it's right there. Its presence is suffocating. You can't change what's already been written. But I will. I will change it. With a swift motion, I push the door open. The blue light floods the room, and I step through. I feel myself falling. The ground beneath me isn't solid anymore, but soft. Like I'm being pulled into something. Like the very fabric of reality is being torn apart. The walls around me shudder, and I know that I've made it to the heart of the architect's world. I'm not alone. Welcome, the voice echoes in my mind, a distorted version of my own. It doesn't sound like me at all. It sounds like a mockery. I hear whispers, thousands of them, each one pulling at my sanity, trying to drag me down. The walls around me pulse and the air feels heavy, as if the weight of the entire world is pressing down on me. I look up, and for the first time I see them, the architects. They are not what I expected. They are not gods. They are not powerful grand beings. They are shadows, voids, empty and hollow, like something pretending to be real. They have no physical form, just an endless presence, an illusion of power. You are the final piece, one of them whispers, its voice hollow and full of malice. We needed you. We needed your bloodline to complete the final step. I feel the pressure of their presence crushing me, pulling me apart, but I stand my ground. I can't give in. No. The words escape my mouth before I can stop them. The architects falter for a moment. This wasn't part of the plan. I can feel it now, the power within me. It's not the power they gave me. It's not the power they manipulated me into using. This is my own. I don't need them. I raise my hands and the world trembles. I am not your pawn. The architects scream, a sound that rips through my very soul. The room collapses around me, their power fading in an instant. But there's something else. I can feel the mimics. They are responding, answering my call. They're not here to follow me. They're here because they sense me. I've become more than what I was meant to be.